In this video, I'm going to break down the 6 mistakes that e-commerce brands make that stunt growth. My name is Patrick O'Driscoll. My team and I at TVG have helped generate over $50 million in e-commerce sales. So we know a thing or two when it comes down to what prohibits growth, what actually drives growth, and some mistakes that brands make before they come work with us, and then how we start to solve those as we work together as a growth marketing team. So let's dive right into it. So the first mistake that a lot of brands make is over-reliance on paid advertising. So paid advertising is 100% one of the main drivers for most e-commerce brands in driving growth. When you're able to invest $1 in and get 2, 3, 4 out through your paid ads, you are in the best possible situation. And of course, you want to dump as much fuel on that fire and scale up that way. Now, that being said, if you're too over-reliant on paid ads, that means that if your ad account gets banned, if you're restricted, if you're down for just a couple days and it completely destroys your financials of your business, this is something that you need to keep in mind. We of course want to prioritize growth and paid advertised purchases, but if you're over reliant where just a simple ad account being shut down or some little bit of volatility in Facebook ads prohibits your brand from growing or puts you in a bad spot, then we definitely want to look at other channels that you're currently scaling on, whether it be email marketing, retention, organic social, influencer, to make sure that you have a broad spectrum of channels that are driving growth for your company. A few mistakes I commonly see is that they're investing all their money and financials into paid advertising. The second that shuts off or they have issues there, their business is in shambles. So that's why you have to start focusing on email marketing. If you're ignoring email marketing and you're just focusing on front end customer acquisition, you are simply burning cash on ads. Here's why. Let's say you spend $50 to acquire a customer. Now, if you don't have proper email and SMS and retention in place, that customer is never contacted again, and you're basically just making a profit on that first sale, hopefully. Now, the true profit and growth really comes when you have your retention side and email marketing dialed. So what we like to have set up for a brand is 1, all your automated email flows. If you don't have email flows set up for your brand, 4 to 6 common ones: welcome series, post-purchase, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, browse abandonment, win-back flows. If you don't have those flows working for you in the background, you are wasting money on paid advertising. You're also just leaving cash on the table. So ignoring email marketing is a massive mistake. Typically what we like to see is 30 to 40% of revenue come through email marketing, right? So if you go and check into your Shopify brand and see how much revenue is being driven through email marketing, if it's less than 30 to 40%, then you're probably underutilizing this channel. If it's more, let's say 50, 60% is coming through email, that means you're not getting relative to your retention enough new people in the door. So that means you have to put more fuel on your fire to your customer acquisition side, right? So healthy brand, what we like to be is 30 to 40%. If you're above that, then we need to do more to scale front end customer acquisition, because clearly you're retaining customers and you're selling them, upselling them, and just maximizing that lifetime value there. So make sure you have those flows set up, and then also the campaigns, and make sure that your pop-up form on your site is completely optimized and driving email subscriptions. All right, the next mistake is poor website optimization. Now, the real KPI that we like to look at is conversion rate on the site. If you're under, let's say 1.5%, you're definitely in the red when it comes to your website optimization. If you're between 1.5 and 5%, that's a very healthy range. If you're 4% plus, you are doing excellent in your Shopify and your site, whatever you're selling on, is converting extremely high. So a few things that would prohibit your store from converting enough customers. First, slow load speeds. So if you have a ton of apps and all these extra things on your Shopify, it might slow down your load speed. So we want to look at your theme, make sure you don't have any old code or apps that are really prohibiting your load speeds, because think about it like this. If someone comes through an ad, you're paying money on ads, you're investing into email marketing, and then they come to your site and then the lander takes an extra second or two to load, that is time that customers get bored and they'll just bounce right away. So we want to make sure that your load speeds are optimized. We have plenty of strategies, like I said, removing apps, cleaning up themes to make sure that your load speed is optimized. Second, mobile optimization. 80% plus of your traffic will likely be coming through mobile. So if your website is not optimized for mobile, clearly leaving cash on the table, and of course that will impact your conversion rate on mobile. Confusing navigation, right? We want to simplify the buying process as much as possible and optimize for average order value. What does that mean? Well, average order value is the average purchase size that a customer makes when they come to your site. We want to make sure that's as high as possible, and using proper website techniques and strategies, you can optimize for cart value, right? I've talked about in a previous video a brand called Nads. It's an underwear company where basically when you come to the site, let's say you want to buy their main flagship product, which is 3 pair of underwear, immediately you are getting upsold and giving incentives to increase that average order value. So, hey, add 1 more pair to get free shipping. Hey, you can get a free pair if you hit $150, if your cart hits $150, right? That is very simple, and guiding them through the buyer's process to basically, yes, buy the initial offer, but also, hey, here's more products, here's more offers, here's how you maximize that cart value. That is massive for brands, and one of the big focus before dumping fuel on your ads, spending a ton on your marketing, because if you're just basically spending all this cash on marketing and driving to a low converting site, we call it leaky bucket syndrome, right? It's when you're driving traffic, but customers aren't converting, they're not getting retained through your email marketing strategy, and it's just a waste of money. So do not make this mistake. Make sure your Shopify is optimized. Look at your KPIs right now. Your conversion rate probably being the easiest one to identify. Is that north of 3%? I say get that north of 3%. Then you're in a healthy spot. Not knowing your metrics. So I like to come into your brand and achieve spreadsheet growth. Spreadsheet growth is when you can completely see, here's our average order value, here's our customer acquisition cost, here's our lifetime value, here's our Shopify conversion rate. Your main metrics there that we like to look at, your return on ad spend is something that we kind of use. We're more focused on CPA and the actual cost of acquisition just because of tracking and meta and kind of ROAS being a vanity metric right now. So instead we look at customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, what are your margins on your products, knowing your shipping fees, if you have a 3PL, your 3PL fees. Knowing all these metrics is vital. So then we can take that information and say, oh, if we increase ad spend by 20% this month, we should expect these KPIs to adjust accordingly, right? So once you have all your metrics, it's basically a game of just optimizing, right? So once you're able to really know all of your metrics, you can easily pull them up. Then you can say, okay, let's invest more into ads. A lifetime value is kind of low right now. How can we increase that through retention systems, right? So you can know your KPIs, know your numbers, and then work accordingly to focus on those KPIs, right? So super easy to do once you know your metrics. So please know your metrics, pull them from your Shopify, use a third-party attribution tool like Triple Whale if necessary, so you have all those numbers, and then you can get to spreadsheet growth period where you're just simply adjusting numbers and scaling that way. Number 5 is wasting cash on influencers. Now, influencers in 2025 is such an interesting game. We really like nano creators, kind of micro to nano influencers for a lot of our brands, because if you're a micro creator, you might just do an affiliate program where there's no upfront cash. If you're a nano creator, maybe you have a small retainer that you pay these creators to create a certain amount of content or deliverables or ads. The macro creators that will ask for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a post, that's an area that can be dangerous for brands. Very important when you're going about influencer marketing to understand, hey, it's actually pretty appropriate to say, hey, I've seen you've collabed with X, Y, and Z brand. Can you pull your stats or your metrics, right? The better we can see data on performance for influencers, like the easiest it is. Now there's some apps and platforms like Social Snowball and affiliate apps that you can really just track performance on that. But before getting yourself into a big, massive contract or deal with an influencer, first, try to forecast that growth as much as possible. And second, make sure that you have a clear list of deliverables and expectations for that influencer. That typically involves an agreement. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't consult you on structuring that agreement, but make sure it's rock solid. Make sure it's very clear on, hey, we are asking for 5 posts. We want them in this format. They have to be approved. They have to be delivered in a certain amount of time. And we expect these things, or you violated your agreement and you will not get paid. Very important here. There's influencers that are super reliable, amazing to work with, will drive massive growth for your company. And there's other influencers with massive egos that have agents and talent managers, and they charge a ton of money. And that's where brands get burnt, because they see, oh, she has 1 million followers. I'm going to spend $10K on this post just to see that it provides absolutely zero return for their brand. Now, is there something to be said about brand building and having authority on your page? 100%. But I see brands get backed into these very crappy deals just for influencers that have a nice, sexy 1 million follower mark. Be careful. tread lightly, have bulletproof agreements, and make sure that you can forecast growth. Or if you know it's going to be a loss leader, just know that up front. Better to know that if this is like, hey, we're probably going to lose money on this in the short term, but we can leverage this face in our content, etc. We can put them on paid ads. As a long-term strategy, 100% go for it. Just please be careful when it comes to influencer marketing. Lastly, looking at growth in silos. This is a big problem I see many brands face, is that they look at every single channel as these individual kind of channels, right? You have your paid advertising, you have your email marketing, you have your influencer, you have your organic, right? You have all these channels that are driving growth, but they're looked at in silos. What do I mean by that? Commonly, brands will have either internal in-house team members managing certain channels or agencies managing different channels. If you are using in-house team members or external agencies, make sure that they can communicate and there's a cohesive strategy that works together in your favor, because the Google ads people will want the best Google ads results. The Facebook people will want the best Facebook results. The email people will get the best email results, and all groups will be claiming the success. Even if Google is nice and greedy and they like to over attribute their metrics, but really the purchase came from Facebook, right? There's definitely some overlap of attribution. So it's better to look at things from an omni-channel approach. What I like to use is like a blended ROAS approach, or marketing efficiency ratio, MER. Basically, this is top line revenue divided by all marketing efforts. Look at things holistically as well as individually, and make sure that your team members can communicate quite well. At TVG, we work with clients on specific channels or projects where we're very focused, and we are happy to collaborate with other agencies, in-house team members, to make sure that everything is streamlined to what the North Star metric should be, is profitable revenue growth for your brand. If we're just too focused on one channel, or if you have teams that are way too focused on one channel, inflate results and claim their growth as to be all their effort, that's a big issue. So at TVG, we take an omni-channel approach. That means we handle your performance marketing, your retention marketing. We do some organic social and content stuff, some affiliate stuff, and we want to make sure that all works together. So when a brand works with us for all channels, we're able to take that omni-channel approach, obviously work with one team, we're able to handle all of that for you. Or if we're only focusing on one channel for you, we are 100% happy to collaborate with as many team members as possible. We are working together to drive growth for your company. If you have egos involved that are trying to take over for certain marketing channels, you are simply burning cash and making this massive critical mistake. So hopefully this has opened your eyes, and maybe you've thought about a few mistakes that your brand is currently making that's prohibiting your growth. Now, I'd love to offer a free strategy session with myself personally to sit down with you and identify what areas are actually holding you back. Like I said, our team has generated over $50 million of Shopify and e-commerce revenue. So we know a thing or two about what it takes to scale up a brand. I'll leave my link down below to book a call if that is something of interest. But if you just want more trainings just like this one, I'm dropping weekly trainings on tactical e-commerce advice, tips, and trainings to make sure that you are pointed in the right direction to scale your brand in 2025. So subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.